Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is May 17th, 2022. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Gwen the Shield Maiden.
Hello, everybody.
Shield Maiden, Morning Darkness.
Hello.
Viking Thorin, aka Metaroon.
Hey everyone.
And joining us today for the first time is a Viking Kondo.
Hey everyone.
Have you killed all the bosses in Valheim and wonder what to do next? You probably wish there was more content so you could give it the business. Well, today we're going to interview one of the biggest modders for Valheim. His mods have given us the ability to make new content for our server so our players can go out each week and give something new the business. And we have a guest co-host today. He's one of the admins from my server, Kondo. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
One of the
Welcome.
best admins. Let's be clear.
The most skilled, for sure.
I love
I
you.
do keep busy.
Love you, Gwen and Thorin. But Kondo, by far, is super skilled at abasing.
He is the mastermind, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kondo and I have been having jam sessions several nights every week, 2, 3 times, sometimes more, where we just talk admin stuff and what could be possible in the future and or going over season 2 stuff. So yeah, it's been fun finding another admin who's as much into the admin commands and mods and Kondo is a spreadsheet wizard. Oh my goodness, he's helping keep us organized with spreadsheet stuff.
Stuff, it's impressive. It must be all your free time that you're spending on doing all that admin testing and experiments and stuff.
I do. A lot of it's for myself too. So I do spend quite a lot of time in my own world testing different mechanics or elements of the game to see what works and what doesn't, what breaks, what doesn't.
Every time I have a question about anything game related, I know that I can ask you and you will have the answer because you literally know the game inside out by this point because you've tested everything, all the possibilities on so many different topics as well. It was great to have you on the No Map server. You had already prepared and planned all the tactics of how to play on No Map, how to explore the map efficiently and so on. And you had a whole kind of write up on it. It was impressive.
Yep. So all the Valheim players out there in the world, if you really want to learn a lot, just email Kondo at gmail.com and he'll answer all thousands of your questions. Kondo, can you tell us a little bit about your gaming history and how you found Valheim?
Well, my background was first-person shooter. So back, I think about 2007, I got my first real PC and played GRAW 2, which was Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2. I played for that for about 7 years, played competitive with that. And I think after that 7 years, back when I was a little kid, I used to play MechWarrior. So I heard of a game that came out, which was MechWarrior Online. And it's a game where you jump in big stompy robots and similar to a first-person shooter, but you're in robots. Played that for about 4 years or longer. Still play it a little bit now, but not as much. And then I was with a friend, Arcalis, which used to play on your servers, Jiroc, and we were playing 7 Days to Die in between times, MechWarrior Online.
So one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah. Which I think I've got more hours in 7 Days to Die than I do in Valheim.
For now.
Nice.
For now.
Yeah.
But, we got a little bit sick of 7 Days to Die. I'm not sick of it, but it was getting to a point where we'd done pretty much everything. And again, in 7 Days to Die, I would find ways to game the system and design bases that would be zero effort to protect you from the hordes.
Of course you did. Engineer all those mechanics and find out where the glitches are, and then the zombies just stand there and look up at you and go, "Oh, I can't get Kondo."
Pretty much. I made bases that they could do that. So 0 effort bases in 7 Days to Die, and then when Arkellis and I were not getting sick of that, but we were looking for something else, and we saw Valheim, and we I think I downloaded it, and then he jumped onto there as well, and one thing led to another. We spent, I think, about 6 months from when we purchased the game to, I think, around September, maybe a bit later. I think November, I joined your service.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how did you find my server, and what finally made you decide that this might be the server for you?
I think it might have, I can't honestly remember, but I think it was a YouTube clip I was watching, and I think it was mentioned in there or in the comments that you had a server running. So I did a bit of research and had a look, and I think I joined your Discord channel. And then back when I joined, I think there was about, don't quote me, but I think it was about 12 members in total on your servers. And I applied, and Pulkus interviewed me, and one thing led to another, and I'm still around.
Back then, when I was just letting in any old riffraff onto the server.
Correct.
That would have been probably October then, like early October.
I think it was.
Yeah,
it might have been. I'd have to check.
Yeah,
I'd
I
have
think
to check.
so.
Yeah, because we started in September, and I think the server was up for about a week or two before I even announced it. But then it was just me and one of my friends were playing on it. And then once I made the announcement, 2 of the original members are even here now, too. Thorin and Gwen were 2 of the early members.
Yeah, first weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah. And so
I think Naomi was just built when I arrived. Naomi. Sorry.
Yeah, so that would have been really early October then. Yeah, I remember because I remember you and Arkellis joining, and you ended up building Erebor, which now Morning Darkness has bought off, or you've passed it on to her and is running. And that's on the starter island.
Mhm.
So yeah, you've been around a while. But yeah, one of the funny things, since you're into robots and stuff, one of the members of the server has come up with this excellent meme that I love about you, Kondo, because you optimize everything.
Yes,
You
I
know
have
that
seen
meme, the optimized prime with your face on it.
Yes, I've seen that.
That kind of sums it up, really.
Well, yeah, it's been great to have you. I'm so lucky that in the first month, few weeks of opening the server, I had so many really good people join. Thorin, Gwen, and Kondo, and eventually Morning Darkness too. But I got lucky. I mean, I just really consider myself lucky that you type of people with like really friendly, but then also like stepping up to help the community to make it a friendly place. And then, each of you have your own strengths as far as like what you are most interested in to bring, to the server, that like without these core people that came into the server, Tolkus too, jumping right into start interviewing people right away and giving them tours. It's like, I don't know what I would have done without all of you, because I was immediately overwhelmed myself by everybody wanting to join. So it's been great having all of you with being so helpful and bringing your skills to the community. I also want to mention that later on in the podcast, we have an interview with one of Valheim's modders, Jere Kuusela. I like to say Jere because it's the first syllable in my name, Jiroc. But we're going to talk about some of the new videos we've posted recently. And I've been super busy talking with Kondo actually a lot lately about season 2 and other build potentials. Actually, Kondo and I recently discovered that we can build custom burial chambers and sunken crypts.
What?
Yes, wait till you see it.
You, as in, pick the different
Can you elaborate?
rooms.
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but
Oh.
more about that in the future when we launch. Maybe as soon as the next server reset, which I think is this coming Monday. The resource server, yeah. But so and doing a lot of testing for season 2. I'm testing tons of mods because we were considering maybe running a Jiroc modded server, but I think that instead of a modded server, I'm just going to put all the mods in season 2. And that way we kind of get a feel for what people like, what they don't like, what's broken, what's working well. And then maybe that could be the basis for a future modded server, because with a seasonal server, it's temporary. We can, easily pull mods in and out and whatnot. And it might even be a good testing ground for allowing everybody to use the gizmo mod, which allows you to rotate pieces in every direction, to see how that goes before we maybe allow it on the main server. I don't know. But so as far as videos, the one video that I was able to get up was just a little clip from the Star Wars competition, and I wanted to feature the Crash TIE Fighter build that we awarded first place because it was such an amazing build. I wanted it to have its own video, and I do want to get around to featuring the other builds in their own videos as well, but I did get that one up. How about you, Thorin? Did you get any videos up over the last week?
I haven't done too much. We had a live stream last week of episode 3 of the Business Givers series, which is I've talked about it before on the podcast, but it's the admin playthrough for admins and helpers on Jiroc server. So that's been a lot of fun. We set sail for the first time and made our way over to Haldor and tracked him down and set up a little base there. We're going to be recording episode 4 on Thursday, which I guess will be yesterday at the time of release of this podcast. So keep your eye out for those. And I think we're going to try to take on the Elder this week, which should be pretty fun.
Yeah. And what about you, Gwen? You get any videos up this week?
Yeah, I finally managed to get the one that I've been talking about for a couple of weeks, which is another short clip from the latest interview we did with Grimcore about a month ago. And this one is all about magic. He told us some really interesting things, and we were kind of throwing ideas out with Grimcore on how would it be with magic, if magic would be more prevalent in the game in the future, if there's any specific lore around the shamans. And we asked him the question of, will magic be available to players in the future? And if you want to hear about that and hear what he had to say, you can head out to Gwen the Shield Maiden on YouTube. It's a fairly short video as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I do have a few other ideas and things like that, but yeah, editing takes time, and time is not something I have a lot of at the moment, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I like you did some extra editing with that. You didn't just show the full clip. You actually pulled some and maybe even produced some clips for that with some new voiceover. So it was a fun video to watch. Yeah, people should definitely check it out.
Thanks. Yeah, I definitely am trying different things with videos instead of just having the clip and just something static to look at. I did put some B-roll in there, but we'll see what I can come up with in the future. I definitely want to stream more as well. I miss just going on adventure silly adventures with people and streaming, so might do that whenever I next have a couple of hours.
Yeah, I wanted to point out too that your thumbnails are, very unique, and you're keeping them stylized to like a brand for yourself. I wonder where you got that idea, those skills from in your real life. But yeah, so every time I'm looking through, my new content, your thumbnails jump out, really easily because of you use the same format, and it's very unique compared to other people's videos. So I know instantly when Gwen has a new video up. Well, what about you, Morning? I know you're really busy over there on Twitch and whatnot. Can you tell us a little bit about the last week?
Yeah, I actually didn't get a lot of streaming done this last couple of weeks. And I mean, I even missed streaming last night, but we'll not go into that. But I did a new no map run with Diamond Dust 320 and Petrolux Gaming. Diamond Dust is actually a member on our server as well. She was in the podcast last week, Marie. And then I've been doing a number of different videos of just trying to get season 2 builds done. They're a little bit different style than I feel like what other people are doing. Other people are doing sort of no spoilers, doing something different. I'm doing more current builds, as in creatures are still actively there on the server, taking advantage of some things.
That's very cryptic.
I don't know. I mean, how much do you want me to not spoil? You know?
Oh, it's okay. It's spoil
Right,
a
so,
little
like,
bit.
So there's a lot of discussion about how to ruin buildings.
Yes.
None of my buildings are ruined.
Mhm.
I'm not, well, okay, that's not entirely true. There's one building
Ruined look.
that's definitely, there's one building that has that sort of ruined look, but, or well, two. Anyway, but, you know, a lot of my things are either ancient, but like preserved by magic, currently being used, or currently being used, yeah. And then I finally, just this last couple of days, started working on the castle that I'm building for my D&D game that I'm playtesting this weekend.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Are you gonna stream or record that so that maybe we can see what it is you're doing?
My playtest?
Well, if the process, like, because you're going to be showing people the build through Valheim, right? Streaming
so
that.
I'm streaming the build itself, and I'm talking about, you know, what different aspects I need and that sort of thing. I don't know if I'll be streaming the actual playtest itself, because it's going to be pretty rocky to start, and I haven't even decided whether or not I'm going to run it fully in Valheim, or if I'm just going to use screenshots or images. I haven't even gotten to that point yet. And, you know, it's only going to be this weekend.
Yeah.
It's only, I've got 3 days to figure that out.
Well, yeah, after you've done it a few times with your group, you might see potential for streaming what you're showing them in Valheim if there's a lot to show. And how much you use Valheim be interesting. But then again, maybe not, and maybe it's just for that game session. But I think people might be really curious to see the process, and maybe even, like, I know people do watch videos of people just playing a tabletop game, but to see the process of actually including, some footage or stills from inside Valheim might be really interesting. But yeah, you'll have to see.
That's how I'm going to be starting, if nothing else, because the game that I'm actually running, not the playtest, but the actual game, is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to be at a convention. So I'm not going to be able to do it in Valheim. But this might be something that I save for a later thing where I do actually run a D&D or some sort of role-playing game in Valheim for certain people.
Yeah.
Yes. Sign me up.
Me too.
Yeah, you've got a lot of tabletop gamers or people interested in tabletop gaming over here in the server. Well, Gwen, what Valheim news have we been shown over the last week? Anything interesting?
Yeah, so we were staring at our blank sheet of Valheim news segment earlier today, and at the very last hour, Jonathan Smars saved us, our segment. He posted on Twitter like half an hour ago this GIF of an interesting new item. So the caption reads, "Don't these just look like so much fun?" with a smiley face. And the animated GIF is of a trap, like a bear trap. And a troll. Yeah, and a troll walking on a bear trap and getting staggered by it, I think. Yep. And then in the next kind of still, it's shown that the character is walking over the bear trap and instantly dying. So it's a trap that works not only for the mobs in game, as illustrated by the troll, but also for players, for Vikings.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, I
I
wonder.
wonder
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
this. I was going to say, I wonder if this ties into the friendly fire mechanic like your weather weapons do, or if this is just an item on the ground that can damage you, because this is like an even better version of the bonfire sabotage.
Yes.
It's
we
I
all
have
knew
so
Jiroc was
much-
going
yeah.
there.
Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth, Thorin.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I have so many thoughts about this. The first one is it's great to see another option for base defense, especially defending against trolls, because so many times people end up digging trenches and doing loads of terraforming to protect from trolls. But this looks like a pretty good method. Like the troll on the thing that he posted, the troll, it took the trap took out 80% of its life. So that in itself can probably protect your base. It looks like once it's opened or armed and it closes on the mob that's walking over it, you might need to reactivate it, as in rearm it. But other than that, it looks like a pretty self-sufficient defense. So that's pretty cool. Also, it looks like a bear trap. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to speculate around that. Does this mean we're going to get bears?
You want to speculate what material it's made from?
Yeah, good question. It looks like the color is kind of bronze color-ish. Or copper. It's kind of brass color. So it's definitely made out of metal mostly. I don't know what mix of metals. I would say probably either copper or iron, or maybe it's a mix. But it's all metal. I don't see any hints of anything else in terms of materials, at least not in the design of
Do you
the
think
item.
a chain might also be needed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, some of those Mistlands pictures that they've shown us, the details on the buildings and the bridges have this sort of same metal color, this kind of bronzy color. So I'm wondering if it's the same metals for the bear trap as for those items.
Mm.
I wonder how this would affect bosses.
Mm.
If a boss stands in it.
Oh yeah, I wonder.
Well, it would make a lot of damage for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if
it does a lot of damage to the troll.
If you actually get trapped, like it's stuck there for a time until a certain amount of time until it can break free or something. It's hard to tell from that little clip that they posted.
Yeah, it definitely gets stunned.
Yeah.
The troll looks stunned, and then it looks like it's then kind of stuck in place, but we can't see much because then the Jonathan just finishes it with a narrow. But it looks like the troll seems to have like its foot stuck in it. So I think it would be trapped in place.
Does 400 damage.
400 damage, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is that what you worked out based on the bar?
No, that's what it does to the PC
you see it
character.
On the image. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it hits the player for 400 points of damage.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking for new videos to post, so look for a new video on the bear trap as soon as we're done with the podcast. Well, that video will be out before this podcast is released.
And I was going to say.
It's going to be out in a few hours after we're done recording this, but...
But hey, just a thought that came into mind. It's coming out, it will probably be released with the Mistlands update, I'm guessing, or before the Mistlands update. And the devs have said that they're looking to introduce more fauna into the Mistlands. We know there's a rabbit, there might be some other creatures. So I think it's probably related to that. Like maybe there's things that you need to protect your base from, or things that you want to hunt maybe, or try to capture. Maybe even tame that you couldn't tame without trapping them with such a contraption.
Bear.
That doesn't seem very nice.
Bear. I want bears.
I'm going to guess, I'm going to go with Morning Darkness and say it's a bear that spins webs.
What?
Oh my God. What horrors did you just know?
Oh man. Now I have the image of a bear with spider legs.
There you go.
Thanks for the nightmares, Jiroc.
No.
Ooh, maybe we're gonna get armor that's got a bear head. That'd be sweet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, a new cape with a bear head that kind
Bear
of
cape.
acts as a helmet.
Yeah.
Yep.
The head of the bear can be a helmet, and the pelt can be the cape. Can you tell I've watched Norseman
Yes.
last week?
We're going to just go over a couple of server events and news items. Morning Darkness, you want to start us off with that?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to announce and welcome a new member to our server this week is Wolfric. Welcome. We are so pleased to have you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome to the server. And it's I forget who it was. It's a newer player who I was on chat with last night. But they joined about a month ago and only played for a day or two, and then had to, because of real life obligations, couldn't play for about a month, but came back and started playing again in the last couple of days. So
Nice.
welcome back, and I hope you are enjoying your stay with us, and both Wolfric and any of the newer players of the last few weeks. Please, just continue to bombard chat with your questions, and I'm sure most of the clans and guilds out there will be willing to give you tours as of each of their clan and builds and whatnot on the server. And if you're interested in joining one of them, that's the best way to figure out which one is a good fit for you, is just to take a tour of each of the clan's build and get to know them and the way that they run their clan, and see if one fits you. Or, of course, you could become a nomad, too, and wander around with all the nomads who are clanless on the server. Gwen.
Yay, Thorin and I.
Bane came back too.
Who came back, Morning?
Bane.
Oh, yes, Bane.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
One of our really, really talented builders who creeped us out with an amazing, sort of like a Dracula Castle build. I have a video on his first one, and he had a new one going. I'll have to follow up with him to see the progress on that. But
And hands down, one of the best voices too. Can we just take a moment?
oh. Yes. He sounds like a Transylvanian vampire almost, with that nice deep voice. And I want to suck your blood.
Every time he speaks, I hear organs playing in the background.
Yeah. We should get him on the podcast sometime, and I'll play organ music in the background whenever he's talking.
Yes.
Well, so on the server, of course, Kondo was the one who built the dungeon for this resource server reset, and he's reset it a couple of times. Kondo, how are people enjoying that? I know you followed them along in a couple of their adventures on going through that dungeon.
I think they're enjoying it pretty well. A lot of, I wouldn't say different mobs, but there's a lot of corridors and open areas for the players to battle the mobs and discover or recover the fragments. So I think they're enjoying it.
Yeah, and I love the way that you sort of hid the chests around in different spots with rubble from the dungeon, because you aged that dungeon a lot by twisting blocks and adding vines, and you have chests hidden in rubble piles, and the look of that, it feels really immersive. So you really nailed it. Awesome job with that.
I would say 6 hours, maybe longer, to do that. By the time I built that and then aged it and then added the vines and set it out to where the mobs needed to be and ensured the mobs could get to the players or fire onto the players with the archer mobs. It all takes time.
Yeah, and recently I introduced you to a command from Jere Kuusela that showed that you could use it with a tap of a one key on your keyboard. If you bind to it, that will rotate all of the blocks within a radius, tiny mounts, to help age it. Would that have saved you some time if you had that previously?
Yes, it probably would have saved about 5 hours of work.
Oh, geez.
Well, yeah, you did do a bunch of custom things that were little blocks here and there. like one fell and it changes the block below it in just such a way like that you have to do by hand. But yeah, manipulating all the blocks one at a time, it would have saved you. But yeah, so and I also built a serpent's nest because people always need a meat, and it's hard to find serpents, on the servers for all the players that we have. So I like to build these serpent's nests, which are really fun, and I'm really honing in this one, and I think it's kind of a fun challenge. It's got a couple of invulnerable elders in the center, and so they just you can't destroy them; they're invulnerable. But so they constantly create havoc as you're trying to get in there to get serpents. And I think people have wasted a bunch of arrows trying to kill the elders, not knowing that. But eventually they figured it out, so they're having fun with that. And I just want to take a quick break from the show to share with you one of my sponsors, the Grimfrost, an amazing company that sells really, really cool Viking products. They have over 1,000 different modern and historical Viking products. If you're interested, you should check them out. I have a link in the description, or you can go to my website, jiroctheviking.com/Grimfrost. Now back to the show. Well, let's go to our interview with Jere Kuusela. Welcome to the podcast today.
Thanks. Hello, all. And I have to say, I'm not actually the greatest modder out there. There are lots of great modders too.
You are in our hearts.
Yeah, there are some amazing mods out there, but for us, for what we do with our servers as server admins, I definitely find your mods to be some of the most useful for the things that we do. So yeah, for us, you're the superstar modder because we couldn't do the amazing things that we do on our server without your mods. But before we get into some of the individual mods that you've made, can you maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself? Do you work as a programmer, and what got you into modding for video games?
Well, for modding, there was this one person asking about dragon tiers, and until I can't put it on item stands. So that's when I made my first mod, which allowed putting those items to item stands. And then, of course, that escalated pretty quickly. People started contacting me that, okay, this item doesn't work, this doesn't work. And then I had to fix these things. And then I got more people asking for stuff like, why can't I use these dev commands on servers? And then I made a mod for that, and so on and so on.
So you had not ever done mods for games before. Valheim was the first one?
Yeah, this is the first one.
Very cool. You really dove in deep.
Yeah, I have done some little Minecraft modification to the server, but it's just like nothing compared to this scale.
And you work as a programmer for your day job, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. I have worked for like 5 or 6 years.
Okay. And did you go to school to learn programming?
Well, mostly mathematics and physics, but also some software development.
Okay. So you learned the programming, sounds like much of it then on your own outside of school?
Yeah, I have learned by myself. Like when I was about maybe 10 years old, I read my first programming book and learned that way.
Nice. That's the best way to learn. I'm a developer too, and that's how I did it as well. Most of my learning was on my own time. So you're like an actual software developer, not necessarily a game dev or anything like that?
Yeah, I have never developed an actual game.
Cool. Is that on your list one day, now that you've written so many mods? Do you think you'll ever try to make a game, or do you just enjoy adding content to your favorite game?
Well, I think I will just keep modding and doing actual work.
Cool.
There's just too many games out there, so competing against them, I don't have really passion for it. So
yeah, fair enough.
And so, have you made any mods for any other games? You mentioned Minecraft. You said you did something for them?
Yeah, that was just for the server, like some new commands.
Oh, okay.
With Valheim, how did you find Valheim and decide to make mods for it?
Well, my friends asked me to play it, and then we played it, and now we have been waiting for a while for new content. We got some spare time, and then I just started modding, and now I don't have a spare time anymore.
Did you start modding Valheim as soon as it came out, or not long after its release?
Well, it was few months after the release.
So you've made there you have 12 mods up now, and you did do a no map mod at my request, but I think you retired that one because Iron Gate introduced a no map function.
Yeah, I'm happy for that. Unless want to maintain and that stuff.
But that's pretty cool, though, because that means that you're kind of the pioneer and your work inspired the actual game developers to introduce that in the game directly. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you said earlier that item stands all items was your first mod, and it's obviously one of your most popular. What prompted you exactly to make this mod? Did someone request the feature, or did you see a need for it?
I had one person asking for placing dragon tiers.
Okay.
So that they can get the glowing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, specifically the dragon tier, because that's one of the coolest looking items that we couldn't put on a stand. Yeah, so item stand all items, you said that one of your favorite features of it is the scaling feature. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's a feature I haven't actually used. Can you explain how that works?
Well, there are commands that you can, when you hover an item stand, you can give a command to scale the item on it.
Oh my gosh, really?
Really?
Yeah. I saw that in the settings, but I've never used it.
Interesting.
Does every item on an item stand scale, or only some items?
They all should work.
And,
my mind is blown. My mind is absolutely blown right now.
I don't think I've ever
Right.
heard anyone using that mod mentioning that. So
I'm in game right now. I got to try this.
I know, me too. I'm trying it.
Do the dragon tier.
All right. Then I have one more question for you, if that's all right, while they're fiddling.
Yeah.
Do you have any new features planned for the future for the item stand all items?
No.
It's good. It's complete.
It's complete. Yes.
Awesome. I love it.
Jere, have you had people ask for any more features for the item stand mod?
No.
No, it's pretty complete then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think it's my only complete mod so far.
Now, the scaling feature, was that something that you added early on in its development, or is that one of the later features you added to it?
It was added maybe middle way, but on the latest version, you can actually put the scaling per item stand. Previously, you had to edit the configuration and it applied to all item stands. But now you can only change one of them. So maybe it's a bit easier to use.
Cool. So I look at an item stand that's already placed with something on it, and I type item stand _ scale and then the size.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Okay.
Lauren, write that down in the podcast chat.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to play with that more and introduce, because on our server, Jere, that's one of it is probably the most popular mod. Almost everybody, even people who don't really want to install mods, I think most of them have still installed that one because they love the decorative features. So very cool. And I know I mentioned it in a podcast talking to the devs before, and I think you mentioned it in a text chat that me requesting them to add this feature is going to cut into your downloads.
Yeah, I hope they add or make it more, less restrictive in the actual game.
Yeah,
because some things don't make much sense now.
Yeah, we can put carrots and onions on an item stand, but not a turnip. Not without your mod, anyways.
Yeah, we make extensive use of the server dev commands mod, which essentially enables admins to use admin commands on multiplayer servers, which are normally only available on single player servers. First of all, we wanted to ask you just about this restriction in the first place. It seems like an odd restriction for the devs to put in place. It just limits what server admins can do. Do you know why they did that in the first place, and like why this was a restriction that you had to work around in general?
I think those commands, like, you are not really meant to use them, so that's why they don't really.
They just thought it was going to break the game or something like that, or
Yeah, and some of them don't work, like on the multiplayer without some changes.
Oh, so
And-
useful.
yeah, we really use a lot of them. Do you have any favorite features or anything that you can do with that mod?
For my own testing, it's nice that you can automatically enable God mode and fly mode and those kind of things, because that just saves so much typing and you don't have to always manually put those on.
Yeah, definitely.
I used to run auto hotkey scripts, Jere, before you implemented those features. I think I might have texted you a few times about those too. Can we add this when I first log in? Can we add that? Because I had to run an auto hotkey script to input probably 10 or 12 different commands every single time I logged in. It was frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any new features planned for this mod? I know it's one of your bigger mods that probably get a lot of requests, especially from me. I'm always asking if it can do new things. What's on the agenda for the future for this mod?
Well, one big thing that I've been wanting to do is to enable features and commands for non-admins, so that you could control, kind of have some kind of permission system, define which commands non-admins can use. So if you have creative server, then you could have people doing cheat stuff without having to give everyone the admin status.
Oh yeah, that would be really useful. Yeah, we have a creative server now, and yeah, I just have to give everybody full admin permissions on it. So yeah, that could be very useful. You think that would apply to other mods as well? Then, if you bake it into server dev commands, but then would that apply? You think across some of your other mods or other people's mods?
No, it wouldn't.
It'd just be specific to server dev commands, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, I have a similar thing planned for the Infinity Hammer as well. Give some of those features to non-admins or non-cheat players as well.
Yeah, I think, well, so that was going to be my next topic was the Infinity Hammer, because in my opinion, I think that is the single best mod out there. And I'm happy to say that I helped come up with the idea, because I asked you, I said, you know what, we used to be able, we spawn everything in with server dev commands, which you split into two mods, but we'll talk about that later. And I had such a hard time putting in commands to rotate stuff and position stuff and get everything lined up right where the players wanted it. And I said, oh, Jere, it would be so great if I could just put it in the world with the hammer. And so you said, yeah, that should be doable. And like real quickly, you came out with an early version of that mod, Infinity Hammer. Do you have a favorite feature that you've worked on with that mod?
Yeah, actually, I love the area remove feature.
Mm-hmm.
You can destroy lots of things.
Oh yeah. People ask me all the time in my YouTube video comments, how do I get rid of this? Because default admin commands, you can spawn something in. It spawns 1 meter from the ground, always facing north, and you can't remove it after you spawn it in. So I just tell everybody, I said, just get Infinity Hammer. Yours Infinity Hammer will do everything you want it to do. It's the best mod out there. Go get it. You'll never regret it. One of my favorite features, though, of that mod, Jere, is just the hammer command, which allows you to sample what you're looking at, because normally you have to, open up the hammer menu, look through the hammer menu for the item you want to build. But if it already exists in the world, you just, because I have it bound to my mouse 4 button. So I just hit my mouse 4 button. It samples anything I'm pointing at, and then I can just build that anywhere I want. It's so amazing. And when you were talking about giving players the ability to use some features from a mod, I think that sample feature from Infinity Hammer is one of the features I would definitely allow all my players to use, would be to sample, so they don't have to go through that menu. Just makes building so much quicker.
Actually, I think that should already work without having to be an admin, like that you can sample those default pieces.
Oh, so if I allow the players to use Infinity Hammer, they can sample now. But are there any other features that they could use that maybe I wouldn't want them to use?
Most of the things should be disabled, but I think they can use the precise placement thing as well.
Oh, so I'm gonna have to log in on my non-admin character and
see what you can do. I haven't tested that much.
Yeah, because I think some of those features are invaluable for builders, and it's you know what, in a lot of games they actually have that sample feature where you just point at something, you can right click or some other hotkey to sample it and then build it without having to go through a menu every single time to find the item. And I'm hoping that they introduce that, but of course with your mod we already have it. So do you have any future things planned for Infinity Hammer? I mean, I know I'm always sending you requests, but what are you looking at for future stuff for Infinity Hammer right now?
Well, one thing people have been asking is that when you are like placing something, there is that item description that it would show some useful information there. Like if you are placing a beehive, it would show you the cover. Would be easier to know which places are valid for beehives.
Ah, yeah. Is that something you think that you can get into that mod?
Yeah, it's like halfway done.
Oh, okay. So you're working on it now then?
Yeah, it should be coming maybe next week or something like that.
One of my favorite new things you added to it recently was the ability to paste blueprints. Specifically for me, because I do a lot of builds for points of interest for events for the server. So I don't want the players to be able to break the structure. So I need to add, infinite health to all the build pieces. And right now, Plan Build doesn't copy the health or allow me to add health. But with your Infinity Hammer, I can set the health to an infinite amount, and I can paste in any item in the game, and it has all that health. But now, since I can do a blueprint, the blueprint, when I paste it in with your hammer, it gets all that health. Are you thinking about in the future having the Infinity Hammer be able to make blueprints also? Or is that something that you think is other people have already done, so you don't need to do it?
Oh, well, maybe it's on the to-do list, but not big priority.
We discussed earlier about World Edit, and it allows you to manipulate so many things in game, and it was originally part of dev commands. Can you tell us why you decided to split it into two mods?
Yeah, it was because of the documentation. That was pretty much the only reason. If you go to and read those documentations I have written, if they were on the same page, it just would be too much to read. More sense to split them.
It's a lot of content.
Yeah, too easier to use.
I send my admins and other people to the mod page and say, try to get familiar with it. But it's so much content for them to have to read through because there's so many cool things that these mods can do. So it's, splitting them just for that documentation so that they at least have, they can focus on one or the other. The different commands was a great idea.
What was your favorite feature of that mod, the World Edit commands?
Well, I mainly like those terrain edit commands because they're actually quite powerful. If I have to pick one thing, it's that undo and redo feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because if you mess up, you can just undo it and try again.
There's so many times, Jere, where I was messing with the terrain around a building that I have in the game. And when I do something to the terrain with one of those commands, the building starts to fall apart and I start to panic. I go, oh no. And I hit my undo key and then the terrain goes back to normal and then the building stops falling apart. So I've only lost a few pieces. So it saved me so many times. Plus the smooth feature on the terrain. That is one of my favorite features because I've used other terrain manipulation tools. And they don't seem to have that smoothing feature. At least I've not been familiar with it if they have. But in your mod, it makes the terrain, you can manipulate the terrain, but also keep it looking beautiful, because otherwise it has that really hard edge when you level it or raise it or lower it.
Yeah, that's actually great that you found some use for it, because I couldn't think any use for it. I just added it.
Oh yeah, no, it's so great, especially like now, because we're working on our season 2 server, and my builders, some of them in the channel here, are making these really great builds, and so then I've got to take them onto the to season 2 server and put them in the world. And so we kind of have this standard where everything needs to be built on flat ground, so it's just easier to paste, because you don't want to have different elevations to worry about. So when I smooth out, or when I level the ground to place their buildings on our season 2 server, I just put in a little bit of code, or the setting for the smooth, so that the terrain looks more natural. Otherwise, it would just be this flat, hard edge, and it wouldn't look nice. But it looks really nice with the smoothing feature. So I'm so glad that you added that one. One of the features, though, because I'm looking at right now at the commands for terrain, I haven't used the slope too much. So that might be something I'll have to play with more.
I was about to mention that. I'd never heard of the slope.
Mm.
I've never used that.
Yeah, it's a pretty new addition. Well, if you want to create a slope, it's pretty hard.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it's really hard with the hoe to get the ground to do anything you want it to do.
So you talk about feature requests from people. I'm curious, what percentage of feature requests that you get are from Jiroc?
Well, nowadays it's not that much, but like when I was working on Infinity Hammer and word edit commands, well, I was only working with Jiroc at that point.
Yeah, I made you a celebrity. Now everybody's probably bothering you for features. I see over on some of the other Discord channels, you've got a lot of people giving you feedback. But yeah, I remember you saying that not many people contact you to give feedback. But once they realize that you'll add features if they request it, now you become more popular.
Yeah, and it was pretty nice to have Jiroc, testing things, because that's one big thing I don't really have time for, and also all those ideas like the Infinity Hammer, which like he said, it was totally his idea, and the name, I think it was your idea as well.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Marvel movies, the Infinity Stone. And when you made a hammer that could do everything, I just thought, oh, that's got to be the Infinity Hammer.
Do you have any new features planned for the world edit?
Yeah, there's one thing that's kind of on testing, is that you can kind of visualize the terrain, which is going to be affected.
Oh, interesting.
It needs a bit more work, but maybe it will help to kind of, like, one thing people have give feedback is that it's kind of difficult to know what's going to happen, like just from those command parameters. So now there's a way to kind of give some feedback before you do anything.
That'll be nice.
Is that going to be with some kind of like ghostly example or some kind of grid plane that shows what the terrain might form into? How will you implement that?
It's only going to be like a circle or rectangle showing the each area, kind of similar to what if you use plant build.
Yeah. I do, and I know Kondo does a lot too, use plan build because it does have that visual representation of what you're going to modify the terrain. It doesn't have the smoothing, so if you use it, you have to go back and smooth it, or just use the terrain feature in World Edit. But yeah, I guess being able to visualize that would definitely help a little bit, because I don't always know how much of the terrain to level to place a building, but I have used it a lot now where I can kind of look in the game and look in the distance, and I know how far something is because I always set like the terrain radius to 50 or 80. And so because I've done that so much with your mod, I'm getting used to just looking in the distance and saying, yep, that's about 50 meters away. So not having the visual representation has added to my skill set. But
And we've discussed 4 of your mods. Can you tell me what's your favorite mod that you've written and why?
My favorite is the RA support mod that shows those boxes when you try to mine a copper like that was kind of very interesting mechanic. Like people always wonder that why is this not collapsing when they try to undermine it, and then I managed to reverse engineer the code and create visual representation and tells you when the deposit is about to collapse.
I haven't seen that one actually. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, no, I've seen ore support, and I never thought that I needed it, but now that I know that it's your favorite, now I'm interested to go and check it out. Mainly because I can now suggest to people on YouTube who get really snarky with me, because I have a video from a while back where I show them how to mine copper, and I dig underneath it and I hit the last piece and the whole thing breaks and falls. And I get a lot of people who comment on that video say, this doesn't work for me.
All experienced that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because there's like invisible connection points to the ore that are still supporting it, and they can't find them. But I guess your mod or support would tell them where those connections are so they could break it. Is that correct?
Yeah, it will show exactly. From my point of view, it's the technical aspect that makes it my favorite, not really the usefulness.
Was there anything challenging to make that mod work?
Well, my biggest challenge was to get those boxes to have proper color, because actually on the Black Forest there is some kind of blue background color or something like that. So that made those boxes always look very blue color, and it took me a very long time to find the solution for that.
Yeah, I noticed in the image that you have for the ore support mod, you went with a red outline box. That was probably the final color you landed on because it contrasted the environment the best.
That's kind of programming in general, that like half of the effort goes to something very little.
Yep.
Yeah, I do find that sometimes I'll with a video I'll spend more, way more time on a particular video, even though I know it's not going to get the same amount of views as other videos, but I just enjoy making the video, so I make it anyways.
Which leads me nicely onto my next question, which is how much of this modding thing is a hobby, and I'm really curious to understand how it works as a business. Is it a viable business model? Can you actually make money out of making mods, and also how much of your time goes towards it?
I don't really know about the business because I'm not accepting donations, but from what I hear from others, it's not that much. Like maybe you can get 100, 200 euros per year or something like that. But if you are working, it's not that much money.
So to add your mods onto a mod manager or into a library, you don't actually get compensated for that. Any money that you would get is just purely based on donations, like a Patreon type thing, donations from people using them.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Nexus has some kind of reward system, like how many downloads you get some money, but of course it's not very much.
Mm-hmm. So it's really more of a passion project then.
Yeah, more like that.
Out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah, enjoying the challenge of making and mods and breaking the game somewhat. And how much you said earlier that you're basically now you don't have any more free time. Do you really spend a lot of your free time doing this? And how much do you spend maintaining mods because of game updates versus actually building new mods and new features?
Well, like totally, I'm like spending maybe on average 1 hour per day. Of course, sometimes more and sometimes I take breaks. And most of it goes to new features because, well, unfortunately, the game doesn't get updated very often.
That's probably for the best for you. Otherwise, you'd spend all your time having to go back to your old mods and update it whenever there's a new patch.
But usually those things are very easy to fix. It's just a matter of like they change some function name and you have to update it on the mod. So fixing mod is not very hard or doesn't take a lot of time.
Well, that's good.
Jere, has there been an update that was more breaking of mods that you've made than any other update? Was there one that caused more issues?
Not really. My mods have been barely affected by updates so far.
Oh, that's good.
Very cool. So I know you said that most of your spare time is now going to making new content on these mods and that sort of thing. But do you still play video games much yourself? And how much do you actually still play Valheim?
Yeah, I still play with my friends like Dota 2 and things like that, but not much Valheim nowadays.
My husband plays Dota 2 as well.
Yeah, I just mostly play what my friends play.
Well, yeah, that's more fun, right? Like whether you're into a game or not, if your friends are playing it, then it's fun to hang out with your friends. I have a Friday night jam session that I'll sometimes do with my old friends that I've known for 30 plus years, and we'll just pick some random game and play it. And sometimes they're terrible, but we still have fun with it because we're just hanging out playing together.
Yeah, that's the important part. Talking about friends and community and everything, I'm curious about the Valheim modding community. Do modders support and encourage each other? Have you worked together much with other modders in the Valheim modding community?
There's some communities. It's a bit split. Like there's some competition between some groups. And
competition, interesting.
Modding turf wars.
yeah, exactly. Not really rivalries. Like your mod breaks mine mod.
Fair enough. All the awkward dependencies.
Yeah.
Have you found many other mods that have interfered with your mod, that you had to tweak your mod so that they don't break if they're both running?
Yeah, actually quite a bit for the server dev commands mod, because there are lots of mods that kind of give those kind of cheat features. So there's lots of conflicts.
Oh, and here I thought yours was the only one that allowed us to do admin commands on a server.
Well, I think mine is the only one that requires you to be admin. Pretty much everything else works even without admin.
Oh yeah, that would be kind of game breaking for a server if all the players could do all the admin commands.
Yeah.
Well, and what's it like for modders on the official Valheim Discord? How is that work received by both the Valheim Iron Gate team and other players on that Discord? Have you worked much with the Iron Gate team?
Sometimes I chat with Smith, but otherwise not so much. But I think lately it's been going to better direction. Like maybe 6 months ago, official Valheim Discord was very hostile towards modders. Like they actually banned. Like I was actually warned and almost banned from the server once.
Just talking about like modifications you wanted to make to the game or something?
Yeah, there was this issue, like this my upgrade world mod that allows like adding new content to old worlds that lots of people asked about, like how can they do that, and then people amended my mod, and I was also kind of telling people about it, and then that was apparently breaking some rules. Smith was helping me to reverse that thing, and I think after that it went a bit better direction. Like they've been more lenient about it.
That's good. Yeah, I get the impression they're not discouraging mods as much as a way to like alleviate some of the player concerns about content release speeds and that type of thing. So nice to see them easing up on that front a little bit more. Is there anything else you feel like they could do to make life easier for modders?
Yeah, there's actually some code changes they could do, which would help modding and make conflicts. Like there's some code areas that, like when modders try to do something, it will very easily conflict with other mods. So if Iron Gate did those code changes to the base game, those would kind of help creating less conflicting mods.
Are they aware that the modders feel that way about the code changes? And have they addressed it as something they may or may not do?
I have talked about them, but I don't know. No, I didn't get any reply about it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think it's unlikely that they will do like anything for the modders.
But these code changes, it wouldn't change their game mechanics too much, but would help modders. Is that your feeling about it?
Yeah, it would be only internal changes. People playing wouldn't really notice anything.
Yeah. And do you think it would be an easy change for them to implement, or would it require quite a bit of work, and maybe that's why they haven't done it?
Well, I think it should be quite easy change. But of course, they have lots of things to do on their own.
Oh yeah.
So it's like my modding. Like pretty much all features are easy to do, but when you have 10 or 50 on to-do list, it takes some time to get through them.
It sounds like me making videos. They're pretty easy for me to make, but I have such a huge list of things that I want to make that getting to them all. Yeah, like I've been meaning to make a simple video about how to just install mods, because I think people who don't know anything about mods think, oh, it's going to break their game or their character or their world, and installing it's going to be hard. I have to copy files and put them into folders, when really mod managers take care of all that with you and allow you to boot either in vanilla or modded, so it doesn't really affect your game much, especially if there's a patch comes out and you're worried you could just boot in vanilla. But I haven't made that video yet just because I have such a long list of videos that I want to make, and I'm more interested in the other ones, but eventually.
We've been discussing the modding community. Do you have a favorite mod from any other modders?
Well, I don't actually really play the game, so I haven't installed mod from other people. Well, I've only installed mods if they are conflicting with mine. So I don't really have favorites from other people.
Yeah.
And we are planning to, when Mistlands is released, we are planning to play with my friends and maybe with some mods. So maybe I will then find me a favorite.
Oh, good. To get you in the game and playing the game, so I can then say, see, Jere, see? We need that. We need a mod to fix that, or a feature to fix that thing. The same problem you ran into.
Yeah.
So, do you have any resources that you used when you got into modding? Like, what would you say is the best place to look for anybody wanting to get into modding Valheim?
I think on the Odin Plus Discord, there are people who have made some nice resources, but I have pretty much read the entire Valheim source code, and with my programming experience, it wasn't that hard to get into the modding. But of course, if you don't have that much experience with programming and don't know the Valheim code, then it's good to try to find a tutorial showing how to get started.
Dive in and poke around. And you said that was the Odin Plus Discord channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about that Discord channel, actually. And then I have one more sort of silly question. I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Obviously.
How hard would it be to make a mod that added functional cannons to the game? Like, you could use bone fragments and iron and coal and surtling cores. Like, how hard do you think that would be?
Honestly, no idea.
Fair enough. All right. Figured I'd try.
Well, yeah, because you have to create all the assets for that too, right? So you'd have to do the 3D modeling and the texturing.
I have never done any assets, and I have no idea how to do those.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think doing all the projectile stuff would be really tough too, and explosions and splash damage. There's so much that comes with cannons that is complicated.
You could use the firework animation and image that's already there for putting a surtling core in the fire.
Essentially, yeah.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, combine that with the buildable boats game or the buildable boats mod. That'd be fun. Have cannons on your boat.
Yeah.
pirate Vikings.
Well, Jere, before we close up here with the interview, I was just wondering, what you're always making, new tweaks to your mods and dealing with feature requests. What are the feature requests that you're working on right now? Like, what are the priority ones for the different mods that you're working on right now that we can look forward to?
But yeah, actually, I don't have that many things at the moment on my to-do list.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know. I'm going to start sending you some stuff. No, actually, it's been great working with you, Jere. You've been so kind and quick to respond and entertaining my ideas. As a server admin, I had no idea that I could basically become a game master for Valheim or any game really, because I haven't seen other games have this sort of tool set. Valheim was lacking those tools, but with your mods, we're able to do so many amazing things. So really, the people on my server, they thank me all the time, and my admins here for creating all this great content for them. But we really couldn't do it without your mods in particular. So thank you so much, and I hope you stay interested for a long time, because I'm sure there'll be many more great things that you can do with the mods in the future.
No, it's very much appreciated. We love your work.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking time with us. Staying up late.
Yeah. Great to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Before we wrap up today, I wanted to go over one segment that Morning Darkness mentioned earlier, and it's using Valheim for tabletop games. So, Morning, could you tell us a little bit about that?
So Valheim for tabletop games. Since we're talking about different mods and whatnot, I figured I'd go for a little bit more aggressive feature that can be added to your Valheim experience. And that is called Valheim Legends. It adds 6 character classes to the game, and some of the classes that are included are Ranger, which gives you enhanced stealth and buffed range attacks, stuff like that. Mage is another one that I think is really interesting, which lets you sling fireballs and can call down meteor strikes. And Druid, which can summon angry vines from the ground and launch them like projectiles.
Oh, like the Elder.
Oh, a bit like the Elder?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, just some things to like make your Valheim character stand out. If you could pick a class, whatever it might be, what class would you guys pick?
I instantly think that the Druid would be super fun, because the Elder and his attacks are some of the most unique and cool looking. That's why I love using them for him for events, because those vines they go out, they take up the whole screen, they shoot really far, and then of course you got the little tendrils that come out of the ground too. So yeah, I think initially Druid seems like the one I might pick.
I was looking at Mage.
Yeah.
Be a bit like Yaglith, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or the shamans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's actually a shaman class as well.
Oh.
Different from Mage and Druid?
Apparently. Let's see here.
We might have to do that modded server sooner than later.
Yeah, I think I would pick the Rogue class.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would go Rogue or Ranger.
Rogue probably gets some kind of special stealth and backstab bonuses, I'm guessing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the shaman gives Enrage, Shell, and Spirit Shock. And I'm not going to go into more details.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun mod to play with, and it's one I have not played with yet. I might have to try that. It might force me to do a modded server sooner than later. I get so many requests, like people say, "Oh yeah, I want new monsters in different biomes." But I think one of the biggest requests I get is I want to be able to use magic, so that would do it because you have the magic classes, or the other big request is I want to be able to build my own ship and sail it around the world with that mod that lets you do that. So could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. This was great. And yay, Kondo.
Yeah, thanks for surviving a 5 a.m. start for us for the Podheim.
I was up at 4:30.
Oh. Night Fury told me to tell you that you're soft.
Well, that's it for now. Have fun out there. Thank you for listening to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. We have new episodes coming out every Friday, and if you enjoyed listening, please support us by subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a rating and a review to help more Vikings find us. We also have a Patreon with perks for supporters like behind-the-scenes discussions, exclusive content, and segments that are edited out of the main podcast. And if you'd like to join our friendly Discord community, we have more than 1,000 people there. Just go to discord.gg/Jiroc the Viking. If you'd like to play on my Valheim servers, just go to my website at jiroctheviking.com and submit an application. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my supporters, some of them on Patreon, the YouTube membership, and the ones who help boost our Discord server. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to make more videos, as well as run a community Discord and multiple Valheim gaming servers. If you enjoy my videos and would like to support my work, join our friendly Discord community and Valheim servers. Links can be found in the description below. Skål!